hadn't turned you up there. Okay, Jeff Burton has joined us. He's currently 10th in points. He drives the number 31 Caterpillar Chevrolet for Richard Childress Racing. And Jeff, you're coming to the racetrack. I believe you've won twice before. If I'm not mistaken, did you win the first race here?
I did.
Yes.
I did.
So got some good history here, and talk about racing at Texas Motor Speedway.
It's a fun racetrack. This is a really difficult racetrack. The way the banking changes entering the corners here is really odd. It's a very unique racetrack, and obviously you got the bumps in both ends of the racetrack that make a huge difference. So there's a lot of challenges here. Which is what makes it fun. The fact that it is hard is what makes it fun, in my opinion.
We'll take some questions now for Jeff Burton. If you have one, raise your hand. I see one. Shannon has one back here. We'll go to Shannon. We'll go to Mark, and then to Tom.
Shannon Spake, ESPN. Last week following Talladega, Kevin Harvick kind of jokingly but seriously said that it would be bad for the sport, or it'll be good for the sport for somebody else to win the championship. What do you think about what Jimmy's done, and possibly would it be good for the sport for somebody else to win?
Well, I think most people want to see a different champion, and I think that's just based on the fact that no one driver has all the fans. And if Jimmy has 20% of the fans, that's an incredible stat considering all the other drivers. But that means there's 80% that don't want to see him win. So I think from that standpoint, I think that's what people are talking about. Is the majority of the fans want to see somebody else win, but with the exception of maybe Junior, I think the majority of the fans want to see anybody else win because it's not their guy. So I think that's really what it boils down to. I think what Jimmy's done is incredible. It should be respected. It should be a lot of reverence for it, to be quite honest, because it's it's an incredible feat what they've been able to do and to be in the hunt again. So I think I told y'all last week when Tiger beats the field by 18, everybody watches. When he's down by 4, nobody watches. So it's an interesting phenomenon, but at the end of the day, it's the majority of people aren't the fan of anyone, and they want to see somebody else win.
Let's go to Mark and then to Tom. And
Mark Carroll, PRN. Okay. Jeff, how do you see this thing playing out as you look at these three guys? One of them, of course, is your teammate. Looking at these final 3 races, do you see it staying this close? How do you see it playing out?
I see the real possibility of it staying this close. For racing with all of them, you start looking, now we're to the point where you have 3 people that are really close, and now you start to dissect how good they are at every racetrack. And you can make a case that all 3 of them are really good at all 3 of the next racetracks. So, they've all performed very, very well. We have 3 different style of racetracks coming up, but they've all performed well in all 3 styles. I think it could be really close. I mean, I don't know who you would pick. I mean, honestly, looking at it, I don't. If I was an odds maker, I don't know who I would pick. I mean, I think it is truly it's an equal race.
Let's go with Tom Jensen and then David Newton.
Jeff, Tom Jensen, Speed.com. 3 races to go. 3 guys realistically have a chance to win the championship. Unfortunately for you, you're not one of those 3 guys. What do you do the last 3 races of the year? Are you working on stuff for next year? Are you thinking about how to do things differently next time? What do these 3 races mean to you?
Well, I think for us, it's this has been a fun year, and it's been a really discouraging year all at the same time. For us, I want to see us be able to execute. We've run well. I mean, I think we're 4th or 5th or 6th in laps led. We're that same area in number of races led. Our performance has been good. Not been great, but it's been good. Our average running position is much higher than our average finishing position, and that's why we're in the spot we're in. So for us, I want to see us continue to run well. This race we led early in the year. We had a really fast car at Phoenix early in the year, and last year we led a lot of Homestead. So these are 3 races that we performed very well in the last time we were at the racetrack. I want to see us be able to do that, but I want to see us get the finishes that we weren't able to get. And that's, for us, that's what the next 3 races are about.
Let's go David Newton and then to Mike Mulhern. Go ahead, David.
Yeah, Jeff, David Newton, ESPN.com. As you said, it's very close, and bonus points are going to play a big factor probably in this. If Harvick had won last week, that would have been a big swing there. If it comes down to a win these last 3 races and you're racing Harvick, do you let him win, or just how much will teammates help each other?
I think if you start letting people win, I think that's an extreme integrity issue. I think that for years people have let people lead laps and those kind of things, and I think that's, those things will happen if possible. But I hope we don't get to the point where people let people win races. I really hope we don't get there. I have a major problem with that. And let me tell you something. If I was second in points and I had a teammate win the race, and had I won the race, I would have won the championship. I honestly wouldn't want to win the championship in that regard, because no matter what you think, you're always going to know that you probably shouldn't have won the championship. And I just think there's a huge integrity issue with that kind of thing.
Let's go Mike Mulhern and then to Claire.
Mike Mullen. Now, do you ascribe to the conventional wisdom that going into the last race of the season, you need to be within 30 points of the leader to have a legitimate chance at winning the championship? I guess that means you got to make a finish top 6 or top 7, I guess.
Well, it improves your odds. There's no question about it. But you guys have been around racing long enough to know that if anything can happen, a guy can cut a tire, a guy can break a motor, a guy can make a mistake, you can have a wrong pit stop at the wrong time. All those things can happen, and take a guy that had a 25, 30-point lead or even a 70-point lead, and now he doesn't have it. Someone goes out and maxes out with points, laps led, and win the race. That's a big swing in points right there compared to a guy that runs 12th. So, it certainly makes the odds better, but it's not inconceivable that a guy could go into Homestead 45, 50, 55 points back and still win the championship.
Claire
Beeline, Sirius NASCAR Radio. There were a lot of phone calls last night on the topic of, would somebody help another guy win the race by giving up the win? They weren't really talking about giving up the win, I'll let you win, but maybe backing off and letting a guy get an opportunity or something if he's a teammate, which then turns into a win, or not racing him as hard, not thinking, well, I'm giving him the win. Any of that, you think?
Well, I think that Kevin and I at Martinsville is a great example, and I don't want to bring up a bad subject, but since then, Kevin and I had a great chance to talk, and Kevin in no way expected me to not race for the win. He wasn't looking for me to let him go. He wasn't looking for me to not race hard for the win. He wasn't looking for any of those things. So, I think there's a fine line. I think that you will cut them a little bit of slack to make sure you don't cause them an incident. I think that you will see that, but I don't think you're going to see a lot of just pulling over and late in the race and giving a guy a spot because again, I just think there's an integrity issue, and I think people will cut them slack, and I think that's acceptable.